Hi and welcome to Wednesday with me, Waveney on Wavelength. I didn't trip myself up this time. Thank you for tuning in today. And before I get into the topic, I just wanted to know if you enjoyed the freebie that I left, I posted last week, Thursday. I had many subscribers. I had some persons reaching out to me telling me that they loved it. So I really hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it yet, you may want to jump onto Thursday's post to get that little cheat sheet that I left for you. And I also wanted to point out my new backdrop. I hope you love it as much as you loved the photos of my chair, my brand new People Brand chair last week. So let's jump in today's topic. Today's topic, we're going to be speaking about giving feedback as a leader. So if you are a supervisor, a manager, a business owner, a team leader, somewhere along the line, you're going to have to give feedback to persons. And we're not just talking about positive feedback, because positive feedback is pretty easy to do, but we're speaking about constructive feedback or feedback that points out the areas of development and opportunities for individuals. So I first want to say that I believe that everyone wants to do their very best at work. That's what I believe. And the reason why I mentioned this is if you try to manage people, if you are a person that feels that when people make mistakes, that they're lazy, they're silly or stupid or whatever negative energy you have behind that, you're going to manage them from that framework. And so you may want to reevaluate what and how you think about your employees. And I feel like it's worth mentioning because it's true. People can detect your energy and how you feel about them, and it's also going to drive the way you manage that situation that you need to address. Right? So I just wanted to put that out there. So first, before I get into the feedback, I want to tell you that you never want to address a situation when you are upset. That is not a very wise thing to do for you. You may end up saying the wrong thing. You may end up doing the wrong thing. You may make the situation much more worse than it possibly is or could be. So you never want to address when you're upset. You want to take a few days to calm down, especially if it's a situation that got you really angry, or you know it has a huge impact, you know, on the business. You may want to just calm down, look at all the facts first before you get into that conversation, right? There's some people that feel like they need to address things in the moment, as that's never a good time. If you are going on vacation or if you have days off, then there are ways to work around that. All right, so you never want to address when you're upset. What you can do as well, you can let the person know at the end of their shift or at the end of the workday, listen, about this situation that happened, we're going to have additional conversations around that. Just like how I am telling you, calm and cool, that's what you want to say. You don't want to tell the person that you're going to write them up, that you don't want to scream at them. You just want to communicate that later down we're going to have a conversation about this. All right? And so let's jump into the first tip. So the first tip you want to do is you want to prepare. Preparation is important, because if you get into that conversation all gung-ho, all angry, all upset, or just having limited information, it can blow up in your face, because there may be factors that influence that particular outcome, and so you want to get all the information that you can possibly get, so that you can come to a better solution. When you are preparing and when you are getting all the facts, you may have to speak to other people. I just want to put something in there, that you want to be careful of the persons that you're asking. For example, you may not want to ask a peer, depending on the situation. You may not want to ask a peer of the person, or somebody that they're close to at work, depending on the situation, right? Because people talk a lot, and the next thing you know, they're going to go back and they're going to say, oh, they asked me this, they asked me that. And so you want to be mindful of it. I know that there are situations that you will have to ask others, and that's fine, but I just want you to be very careful and mindful of how you communicate and how you ask those questions. The second tip you want to do is you want to choose the right time. Timing in anything and everything in life is very, very important. Jumping back to what I said first, you don't want to just, do things on emotion. You don't want to just have those conversations when you're upset, right? And that's a prime example. So finding the right time, and this is blocking off time, scheduling time. If you don't have an office, then you may want to use somebody else's office, but you don't want traffic. You might choose to go for a walk, you might choose to take the person for coffee, I don't know. But the timing is important, because you don't want any interruptions, because you want to have that one-on-one. You want to show that, not that you just want to get to the bottom of it, but there's an element of care there, right? Now, what is not the right time is some persons choose to address situations in front of colleagues and peers, and that is a huge no-no. We don't do that. We want to provide that person with respect, even though they made a mistake, right? The right time is not to do it in front of customers. You can't do those things in front of customers. I've had that being done to me. I'm at a business place and somebody makes a mistake, or line of questioning, and I feel embarrassed for the person. So you don't want to do that, right? They're already embarrassed. They already feel bad because they've made an error. You don't want to just build on that. The third point is take the emotion out of the conversation. You want to stick to the facts. What is factual? Lots of the times managers and supervisors start conversations with, like, everybody says, you always do this. We want to stay away from those generalizations. What happened? What did the person do? What was the result of their actions? If you start tailoring your feedback, especially when you have to give constructive feedback to facts, you cannot go wrong, right? You can't, lace those conversations with what you feel, right? Because we feel lots of things, right, all the time, but that doesn't mean that it is so, or that doesn't mean the perception is that way. So take the emotions, stick to the facts. The fourth thing you want to do is create a plan on how to move forward. Yes, it's not just a scream fest, which you shouldn't be doing, by the way. At the People's Brand, we're not about that. And it shouldn't be just a light conversation. You have to create a plan to move forward. If possible, get the person to agree get the person to agree that this is what happened, they're going to tell you what happened, but get the person to agree on, the plan forward. And that is really cool when you can get that done. There's sometimes you're going to encounter persons, you could take all these steps, but you're going to have some persons that are defensive, that are combative, that they really don't care, right? For those persons, you may want to get a supervisor, or you may want to get a witness in on those conversations. And you typically know the persons who may give you trouble, so you want to do that, right? And then number 5 is, you have to ask this really powerful question. I think it's powerful. You ask, what support do you need from me to do your best? What resources do you need? What do you need from me, right? This is in line with what we spoke about previously on being, a leader that serves. If you want to be the best possible leader, if you really want to do a great job at it, these are the types of questions that you have to ask, because remember, your work is done through people. You cannot do it alone. And if someone makes a mistake, and people make mistakes all the time, I make mistakes, you've made mistakes, but it's really encouraging to know that you have a boss or you have a leader that really supports you and want you to do your best. And so, the conversation, these types of conversations are sometimes not pleasant. They're sometimes not pleasant, but they're uncomfortable, to that person, because and if it's someone who really wants to do well, they're not going to be happy. But if you circle back and the last thing you say, what do you need from me? How can I support you? That is like putting the cherry on top. That is really showing care and really showing them that they're valued. And so I just want to review these tips. Remember, you never want to do anything when you're upset. Never, 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 right? Then you want to prepare for that conversation. You investigate. You want to choose the right time. You want to prepare, right? And take the emotion, stick to the facts. Take the emotion out of that conversation. Number 4, you want to create a plan on how to move forward. And number 5, you want to ask the real powerful question, how can I support you? Okay, so thank you for listening, and as always, your comments are welcome. And if you have any questions that you're shy, you don't want everyone to see, you can certainly email me at hellowaveney@thepeoplebrandskn.com. I've listed it below, and I will see you next week for another wavelength video.